everybody, Llewellyn here from Worn to Whimsy, and I am live today on the Redesign with Prima page, and we're going to be putting on some of this really beautiful Wondrous Floral II transfer that I've cut up and got all ready, and we're going to be applying it to this buffet today. So I'm just kind of making sure everybody can see and waiting for you guys to hop on. I have my helper Emma here today, and I see one person, so that's good. Means I'm live. Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit blurry.
Okay, and Emma's going to be reading the comments. I'm not sideways or anything. I'm straight up and down. You good?
Straight up and down.
Okay. Emma's going to be helping me today, reading the comments and making sure. So go ahead when you hop on, say hello. Again, we're going to be applying the Wondrous Floral Transfer, and I already have some of it on this mermaid themed buffet that you can see behind me over here, and it looks gorgeous. I love it with these colors. It turned out really good. Lately I've been using all the bright fun colors, and yes, I always get so excited. So go ahead and say hello, comment so I can make sure I can see your comments. Are there any comments yet, Dave?
No.
Okay. You want to write one on there? You can say hi. I want to make sure I can read things. Okay, so I have just been trying to figure out how to, there it is, good, I can see them, how to apply this all over. I've been using the transfer, and I just cut it up into different pieces, and today I'm just going to be rubbing some parts of it on. So let me get my little stick, and I'm just using the stick that comes inside of the transfer canister. So that's really usually all I end up using. And I do know it's a little bit spread out, so I'm going to kind of fill in some blanks on the front here today. And I think I want, I'm going to show this. I think I want something right here, just kind of like to, I don't know, artistically spread them out. And then I might put some on the side over here. And then later we're going to be using the mulberry tissue paper. This is the tissue paper from Redesign with Prima, and I'm going to be putting that on the inside of the door. The door that I just slammed shut, so I'll have to get that back open. I don't have the knobs on. But, so yeah, I'm going to be putting this on the inside of these doors.
Ross Robertson.
Hi, Ross.
Says hi, hello.
Good to see you on here. Okay, now, when I'm applying a transfer, I like to cut them up and use them just kind of wherever and however I want. So I think I just kind of like place them randomly. I'll tape them up there sometimes. You know, there's so many different ways you can use them. You can put them on whole and spread them out from the center. I did that one on a recent live on here too. So today I'm going to be, I cut this one all up. So today I'm going to be using it kind of randomly. And can you hear me okay? I'm having my helper. I've got my Emma. She's helping me out. My 11-year-old.
Yeah, I think you hear me okay.
Okay, good. All right. So with the transfer, I'm going to put it on. It's a little bit lumpy over here, so I'm going to put it on pretty carefully, and then any edges, I just use this little knife to cut between. So I'm just going to hop right in here. I'm on my little wheelie. I just have a furniture dolly. I kind of ride around on it. I hope you guys are all doing well today. Let me get this camera set up. Okay, here we go. So you guys can see better. And I'm just kind of placing them so they sort of interconnect, kind of making my own little bouquets almost. So you just take the transfer and you peel it off the backing. And I just move a little bit slow for that part. Usually it comes right off with no issues. Well, it's always come right off with no issues for me. So, and then I figure out where I want it to go. And on the front of this buffet, it was a little bit harder to place it just because there was so much. There's so many like divots, you know, there's lower areas and higher areas. So I'm just going to cut off the extra plastic to make sure it doesn't get in the way. And lightly, I'm very lightly pushing the transfer on there, and I'm going to start in, this time, the flattest area, and then kind of move over to the other areas. Now right here I have the edge of a door, So to get a nice clean cut between those, I'm gonna make sure I'm seeing these comments. Oops, sorry, that's my finger. Okay, so to get a nice clean cut between the door, I'm just using my little X-Acto knife and going right down along that door. There we go. And then just use the little tool that came in the canister, and I'm just going to rub it right on there. And because I cut it, my door is a little bit recessed, so it didn't cause any issues. That door just kind of shut right there, and it didn't pull or rip the transfer because I already went down that little line and shut it. For this piece, this is a mermaid themed one that I am doing. Emma, have you shared it to my page, sweetie?
Yes.
Okay, good. Awesome. She's awesome. She's got this. So this is a mermaid themed one. I'm really excited for this one. And I used Dixie Belle paint on this one, and I used the colors, the Gulf, and let's see, what else did I use? It was the Gulf, Mermaid Tail, Peacock, and Antebellum Blue. And I just blended them for my background and sprayed with water as I blended. Okay, so I'm rubbing pretty good today. It has been a bit more humid, so it took me a little bit more oomph to get these transfers on here, but they're going on just fine. I just have a little bit extra rubbing. I'm gonna make sure I get it in this little corner here. And then once it's all nice and rubbed on there, you can just start pulling your plastic away from the transfer.
Leah Noel Design says, "Hey, this is so pretty." And Jessie Villacorta says, This looks beautiful. I have a piece of furniture just like it, and I was thinking to do black, but after seeing this video, I like the teal combo better."
Yeah, it turned out, I was surprised that it, sometimes they surprise you, like a happy surprise. And this was a good one. I was really happy when I stood back. Okay, so I'm just peeling that plastic slowly away from the transfer from the flowers. And as I go, I'm going nice and slow and making sure that it's sticking. And anywhere that it doesn't stick, I will go back and what you would call burnishing it. I'm just going to do that with my fingers today because that's usually what I do. And I'm just slowly moving down the transfer. I hope you guys can see okay. Oh, hi Leah, I see you on there. And hi Connie. Whoops, don't want to do that too much. Okay, and I'm getting these. So like I said before, there's a lot of little areas where it kind of dents in. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of break that transfer and push it right in. And if you want to be super detailed about it, you can always go back and use like a paint to touch it up. I've done that a few times, like when I had to go over a lumpy curved edge knob and it cracked a tiny bit, you know, because it was going around the corners and over the curves. So I went back just with a regular, either a chalk paint or an acrylic paint. Prima offers the Impasto paint, and I've used those. There it goes.
Lisa Robertson Lewis says, "So pretty," and Connie says, "I broke my stick yesterday."
Yeah, Connie, that happens. I've totally done that. I go through transfers pretty quick, so there's a lot of sticks around here, thank goodness. I've got backup. There's what?
It's like 4.
There's 4. There's more than 4, but there's 4 that you've come across, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, and then any raised parts, I'm just going back with my fingers and pushing those in, making sure I get it all in the corners. And right up here at the top of the door, where it kind of stuck, it was still connected, so I just cut it with a razor blade, like any knife will work, really. X-Acto knife. I've got my little, I think it was Dollar Tree one. And pushing it in to all those tiny spaces. It was really probably not the easiest piece to put a transfer on, but it's still turning out really beautiful, so I'm glad I chose it. Okay, moving along. This part kind of has like these little in and out, up and down parts. So as I go over that sort of a trim piece, I'm just gonna push the transfer right down into them as I go. And I hadn't fully pushed this on yet, so I was able to just lift it, and then as I go along, kind of push the transfer into that lower area on the trim.
Hannah M says, "Hi, beautiful."
Hello. Thanks for watching today, you guys. And we are using the Wondrous Floral Transfer, Wondrous Floral II. You can find it either from a local retailer or there's also online vendors as well. And you can find it on the Redesign page, redesignwithprima.com. They have a whole list of where to find the transfers and who to get them from. Don't stick there. Okay, good. So yeah, I know that the trim is always a harder area for me, and I do get some cracking and some pulling sometimes, but I can always go right back in there and touch it up if I need to. And I chose to just go over the trim because I like hard things. I don't know. I make life harder for myself. No, I just wanted that look for this piece. And you guys go ahead and ask any questions if you have any. And yeah, let me know where you're watching from today. And we're going to move on pretty soon here and do some of the tissue paper that Prima offers. So I'm still just going slowly along, like along the top, and then pushing it into the grooves. And I just work really, really slow for this part. So just to make sure that I'm not ripping it and I'm not pulling it.
Judy Moore says, "From NC, love learning from you."
Thank you, Judy. Thanks for joining us today. And I've got both of them out here helping me today. My 11-year-old is helping me with the comments, and then my 5-year-old's running around outside. So we finally actually have some good weather here too. It's been raining for like, I don't know, weeks and weeks. And I'm just going to cut along this edge right here so that I can peel away the plastic easier. And this is where the drawer starts anyway. And I'm just going to place my transfer down and just make sure it lines up nicely, and then I'll apply this separately. So I'm just leaving the plastic over here. This is mostly adhered all under there, but I'm going to go over it and get in these little grooves and make sure it's all the way in there.
Judy Moore says, "Where are you located?"
Oh, we're in Washington State, which is finally sunny. So yeah, rain makes sense. Pacific Northwest. It's kind of what we're known for. Okay, and then slowly, slowly lifting away the plastic.
Ann M says,
And it left it on there.
"Whereabouts?"
In Washington State. I'm about an hour outside of Portland. We're up in Longview, Washington. Okay, and I'm just going back. I don't know if you can see there. I'll try and bring you in a little closer. But there were some raised areas, and you can see like the haloing around the edges of the transfer, and that's where I know that I haven't gotten it to stick down all the way. So I'm gonna go around those little raised edges and just push them down really good with my fingers. I will be clear coating this to protect it, and I'm just gonna use a regular flat or satin clear coat. Or you can use a wax.
Anne M says, I have a family in Aberdeen.
Oh, nice. I don't think that's too far. Okay. And we're just going to rub this last little bit on really quickly here. Yeah, we moved up here recently from Portland, so I still feel new, and we've been here like 3 years. Okay. And I'm gonna slowly lift this away. Once you get like one little corner or one little edge down, it makes it a lot easier to lift it away. I'm gonna keep rubbing for a second. Here we go. And peeling my plastic back, and if it's like, if you can still see it's really raised, you can go back in and just, with the plastic still on it, rub it a bit.
Brittany Marie Brown joined.
Okay. And she's on it with these comments and stuff. You're on top of it, Emma. Thank you. And then again, I'm going back in with my fingers and just burnishing. You can use like a softer sponge pad or a sanding pad to burnish. Today I'm just using my fingers, or you can use a soft dry cloth. You can pretty much, it's just making sure that it sticks really well. That's what you want to do. So I'm almost done, I think, with the transfers on the front. I might add a few more, like coming in from the sides. She gave me a picture that, who was it? I think it was a CC Restyled picture as her inspiration, so that meant I get to have fun because her designs are so fun. So now I'm going to be doing this on the inside of this door. Let me grab my little screwdriver to open the door. And I'm going to do, or my paint thing.
Susan Osler joined.
I need the knobs. I need the knobs back on this thing. So, and I'm going to do this paper on the inside. So let me change over here a little bit so you guys can see the door. And today, to apply my tissue paper, this is almost like a cloth, but it's a little bit thin and see-through. So I did do paint. I painted this already, and it's just antebellum blue. I just painted it one color. And I'm just going to be applying this, and I'm using a flat top coat because that's what I have on hand, and I know that that works pretty well to apply them. So I will do a layer to like use as an adhesive of the flat top coat, and then I will also do a layer over the top while I'm at it to protect. So I'm just using the Dixie Belle flat top coat. And this is the mulberry tissue paper, and this one's in Ariel, or Ariel. Hi, Susan. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I get to have fun with the Redesign products on this one, so pretty excited for this one. Okay. And I'm just using a regular brush. I'm just going to put on a nice thick coat of it, and I'm actually... clear coat always bugs my hands. Paints don't usually, but clear coat just does it. So I am going to put this on so that I can get any bubbles out. I'm just going to use a glove. Where did I put my brush? Oh, it's in my lap. Okay, so I'm just going to apply the clear coat on here. And I already have my tissue paper cut out. Now, this tissue paper comes in two longer sheets. So I'm going to see how far down I need to go with my clear coat. It's just over halfway. just past the hole for the knob. So this tissue paper, it comes 2 sheets in a little package, and I'm just using part of 1 sheet. So the second sheet is like a repeating pattern of the first. So it should be pretty easy. With the second sheet, I will use the second sheet underneath the first one so that my pattern repeats and I can match them up perfectly. So I'll show you, I'll be cutting that in a second here. I haven't cut it yet, just so you guys could get an idea of the size of what the tissue paper comes in. Okay, so I've got a nice, and I can see it from my angle, but I've got a nice layer of the clear coat on there. And I'm just gonna stick my tissue paper, and this is on the inside of my door. So I wanted you to be able to open it up and see something. And I will go around the edge, and I'll just, you know, pull the tissue paper nice and tight. And I'll go around the edge and cut off all the excess once I'm done here. So let's see, that's my other piece. So this is the size of it. It's pretty wide. So I can easily do the two inside of the 2 doors or drawer sides with this. I think drawer sides would be really cute too, but my drawers on this piece were really tight, so I'm not going to be using it on those. But you can see how wide it is, and the repeat pattern starts on, well, I found the easiest to do was just to use part of the second piece, and then I'll do the same on the other side, use top and bottom with the 2 pieces of tissue paper that come in the roll. And I'll be using most of it, maybe not all of it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over this. I'm just using the same, the clear coat, and it's just a flat clear coat. And this will also seal it. As I go along. So it makes it for a pretty easy process as far as, I've used it with Mod Podge and that worked just fine. And I can see it's kind of, you can see it's kind of changing color a bit where I'm applying the clear coat. So what that means, I'm getting it all nice and through. And once I'm done and it's dry, I will go back and I can cut off all of that excess. There we go. And I just want to make sure that I get it nice and soaked in. And the clear coat allows for a little bit of leeway with the drying time, so that makes it easy. Makes it easy to work with. And I always make sure I have a tiny bit of excess around the edges, and I can go back in and like cut them and maybe do a light sanding around the edges to clean it up. So
Carrie Civilian joined.
Okay. You don't have to read me when they join, sweetie, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, it looks like it's nice and thoroughly soaked and on there, and how simple was that? So for the second piece, this is my repeat pattern. It's just going to be right there, and I can see it already. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make a little cut with how wide I made the first one. So I can do, and it's kind of easy to like, I have a little edge I can stick it right up there on. Another thing with using the clear coat is that, and you know, these are a little bit heavier duty tissue papers, like they don't tear and rip very easily, so I can stick them on there and I can pull them back off. That's one thing I really like about these as opposed to like a paper or a thin tissue paper. So I just made a fold, and that's right along where I cut before. So I should be lined up pretty well. I don't have to be perfect because I left myself some room.
Martha Burke says, "Hi, Bonita Springs, Florida. Awesome."
Thanks, Martha. Thanks for joining me today. And I'm just cutting along that little fold that I made. Now I'll just add my clear coat, using that as my adhesive. And I'm just using a flat clear coat. I've used, this is the Dixie Belle one, but I've also used like, what's the other one? Like the one you can find at the hardware store, the Minwax. And it doesn't, I don't think it matters if you're using flat or satin or anything. This is just what I had on hand, so it makes it easy that you can use what you have already.
Susan Osler sent a smiley face.
Thanks, Susan. All right, and I'm just gonna line up and that's lined up pretty well. I feel like I'm backwards or something. Maybe I am. I was backwards. Some of it matched, but not all of it. There we go. That looks better. And I just want to make sure that my edge is like perfect. And because I have a little bit of leeway with my drying time, I can go through and get that edge just as much as I can, you know. And that's why I'm wearing the gloves too, so that I can go through and push it right on there. And I just want them to like bump right up against each other, but not overlap too much so you can't see too much of a line. I think I've got it. I've got it pretty good on the rest of it, but there's one spot where it's overlapping.
Heather Watson said, "Hi there, Llewellyn."
Hi, Heather. Thanks for watching. And we're outside today, so I apologize for the yard work happens right next door. All right, so I've got that all nice and smooth on there. I do have some excess on the bottom that I'm going to be cutting off. Hey, Emma, you want to shut the garage door real quick? Because I think they're coming right. Of course, the neighbor's going to come right next to the fence.
Okay.
And if you guys are just hopping on, today I am using, make sure the lights are on, the mulberry tissue paper from Redesign with Prima, and it is in Ariel. And you guys can still see? You can. Sorry about that light change, you guys. I can hear my neighbor coming close.
Heather Watson
Something
said,
I did not prepare for.
Heather Watson said, "Oh sure, this looks interesting." And Laura said, "I don't think I have the patience for that."
Oh, yeah, I've done a lot of Mod Podge stuff in the past, and you know, I used to do signs and stuff, so it doesn't bother me. But I can see how it does take some time to make sure it's all nice and lined up. And this is on the inside too, so if there's too big of a difference right here, I can always, like I've done before, use some paint and go back and touch it up and kind of hide that line. Looks like it's kind of dried underneath here, so I add a little more clear coat, and then just smoothing it right down, and it's on there pretty good. And get this corner too. Another good thing about it being kind of see-through is like the clear coat goes right through it. So once I put more clear coat on the top, I'll hold it up a little bit closer, but you can see, I don't know if you can see, you can kind of see through it. It's woven material, so it's not going to rip, it's not going to tear, and it's pretty easy to apply as far as tissue goes. All right, you guys, so that's what I have for the inside. And my outside, I'm going to have to leave that open. I do have another piece of the transfer. Let me see what time it is. I've been on here for a while. 3:30. Okay, so I have a little bit of time left. Let me just clean up my brush and we'll go back around the other edge. And I'm going to take off my glove because I'm done with that for now.
Susan, Osler says, mermaid scales, so cool.
Yeah, I like the mermaid stuff. I like it too. And let me put my clear coat away. I'm just gonna go around the edge here. I was pretty excited when I got to work on a mermaid thing. Because anything mermaid is my favorite. And I might need your guys' help now because I need some input on this side. I haven't been able to figure out what I want to do. So I've got some pieces of the Wondrous Floral left, and I just need to apply those to this side. Let's move. And we're going to move that door and maybe back out a little bit. Sorry about my messy garage too. But this is my space today. That's all I got. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so here is the side. And I still have these pieces left, and I just wanted to add a little bit to the side. I'm just not quite sure. I think I'm going to add this. This is 2 halves of a whole. And that'll be nearly all that I want to do for transfers on this piece. Besides the other side, I might put in some little pieces just to kind of tie it together. Let's see, how do I even want this?
Susan Osler said, ooh, ooh, and Brittany Marie Brown said absolutely amazing.
Oh, thanks ladies. I'm going to move it over this way so you can watch me get this on if it doesn't fall over. Here, Emma, can you get your feet off that? There we go. Had to move my cord. Okay, let me keep going.
Oh my God.
It is now.
Susan Osler said, I love the paint.
Thanks, Susan. I like it too. It just turned out perfect. Sometimes it goes exactly how you want it to. Okay, so I'm just putting these, I'm going to finish up with these florals on this side, kind of down in the corner here, coming in. So, start with 1 half. And these are just the pieces that I cut up. It did take a little bit of extra time to cut them up, but I really like the look that it's getting. And I'm just going to start rubbing it on there again. So, same thing as what I did on the front. And it's definitely quicker on this flat side than it was on the front. Just a flat surface is always going to be a little bit easier. And then you pull the plastic away from the transfer, and as you go along, rub any little parts that may not have adhered fully. I always just slow and steady with this part is what's going to get you there. And if you see parts that may not fully be on there, you can always go back while the plastic's still there and just rub it down a little bit. It makes for a good barrier between your wooden stick scraper and the transfer itself. And quick and easy when it's on a flat surface. Okay, and then I'm just going to line up the top half of these flowers because this was 2 separate pieces, and I just cut them off and kept them together so I could use them on the sides. And I'm just going to really carefully line it up. I don't want to leave a gap because you'll notice a gap more than you'll notice the overlap. And sometimes you'll get a little line like where the transfer overlaps and the halo is. And if you're really worried about that, you can cut right along the edge of the transfer, right along the edge of the plastic, and get rid of that. It wasn't showing up too much against this paint color. I think sometimes it has to do with the paint color you have going on underneath. But, so I didn't worry about it too much. And again, just carefully making sure you get every single part of it, rubbing it all on. And I use my fingernails for like the tiny parts sometimes to get them all on there. And I gotta say, I think this is one of my favorite new ones. I really like that the Cosmic Roses is the blue one too. I almost picked the blue one for this, but it just didn't have like that. It didn't stand out enough against the teal and the aqua colors that I was using for this piece. So we went with this one. My customer helped me pick. I needed some input. Okay, and let me get these corners on there. And once you get an edge on there pretty well, it sticks pretty easily.
Decoupage Vintage Design says, it's looking so beautiful.
Oh, thanks, Jody. That would be Jody.
Oh.
Isn't it getting late though, Jody? I guess what, 8 hours difference. We got 8 hours difference. It's not too late there.
9:30 p.m.
Oh, 9:30. Yeah, that's not too late. That's not late at all. I don't know what I was thinking. No, she's 8 hours ahead, baby.
8 hours ahead.
I'll let the 5th grader figure it out. The hot weather where I am is making the transfer difficult. Yeah. Occasionally it can mess with it. Yeah. Here, for me, it's the humidity. Humidity can mess with it for me. I find though, if I bring my, like today I'm out in the garage. I'm doing this in the garage. So, you know, the humidity in here can fluctuate.
Oh,
but
it's 11 p.m.
It's 11 p.m. Yeah, that makes more sense. But, let's see. Sorry. To focus. I don't want to rip my transfer.
Jody said it's almost midnight.
It's almost midnight, yes. 11:30 then, huh?
Yeah, 11:40 now.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Jody. So yeah, the humidity is my issue, but I find if I bring my piece inside and I've had my paint drying inside overnight, then I don't have any sort of issue. I just wait a day between painting and applying the transfer. You know, sometimes I get really impatient. I think we all can, and you just want to rush it, you know, because you've seen it together and it looks so pretty. But just take your time. It will get there. That's the best advice I can give for that, is just making sure it's fully dry. You can usually feel your paint too. Like, if it feels cold, it's still a bit wet. So if I feel it and it doesn't feel cold, that's a big sign. So I'm just going back with my hands and burnishing really quick. And I got a little bit of a bubble. So there's a bit of a bubble. You can't probably really see it on the camera, but sometimes if I get a bubble, I will just, besides if you're not using a burnishing pad, which is probably a good idea too, you can go back with the plastic and you can just rub right over it, because the plastic will act as that barrier that won't stick to the transfer and it won't harm the transfer. And my bubble is gone. It's on there. You can't hear it or see it or feel it anymore. There's a little more over here where I didn't quite get it. So yeah, I think just moving slow and steady. They might take some time, but it's sure quicker and easier than hand painting all of these. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of the week. And I'm going to be live on my own page here in about 15 minutes. I go live on Worn to Whimsy at 4 o'clock. So if you'd like to join me there, I think we're going to work on canvas painting. Or no, I have a dresser I'm painting. So we're going to be working on, I do paintings on pieces. So we're going to be working on one of those. Join me there if you'd like, and y'all have a good night and a good afternoon. Thank you. Bye.